Welcome to the podcast that buffs your Hearthstone game. This is Velen's Chosen.
Not all who wander are lost.
Hello and welcome, greetings travelers, to the Velen's Chosen podcast that is geared to buff your Hearthstone game. We are here to help you stay competitive on the ladder regardless of your Hearthstone card pool and not breaking your bank. We help you with arena skills, deck construction especially, and some tips for gameplay to help you become better and accomplish your Hearthstone goals. I'm your host, NotRobMay, and joining me, as always, is Evemartyn from Canada.
Hi.
And Andrew Brown from the Oklahoma region.
I'm not considered a guest after missing one, am I? I hope not.
It was a continuation of as always, okay? It's the same sentence.
You guys wish I had left, but...
Didn't you miss two?
Huh?
In a
In a row?
Didn't you miss two?
No.
Me and Rob did like a duo one, right?
Oh, yeah.
And then, were you on the one with Cora?
Last week? No.
There you go, you missed two.
Wow.
Not in a row.
The Eve shaming
Really?
is real.
No, not in a row.
Oh, no, you're totally right. No. I don't
Was it
think
in
so.
a row? No, I don't think it was in a row. It was like,
No,
you
because I
missed
was
one,
sick
then you were
that
on
same
one, and then you
week.
missed one.
Yeah.
Look, here's what matters. I'm here. You can't get rid of me unless I have a baby, and that's that. So, deal with it.
Which is not scientifically possible. So,
I can't.
we have you forever.
That's
But if my
not-
wife has a baby, and I might... No.
Oh, you
I'm
guys are too
sorry. I
much
chose
for me.
right at that moment to eat a pistachio, so I was like, maybe Rob will go to Andrew first.
Guess not.
I see everything.
no.
I will make sure that you
It's
get
like,
it at
Eve's
the
eating a
worst time.
pistachio, so I will call on her. So, have you guys been following all the stuff from E3?
Oh my word. So much stuff.
So much stuff.
All
I'm
I
going to say
saw
this,
was-
and I put this on Twitter, was that there were so many shows that had so much talking. It was just like talking and talking, and they brought up like representatives from like their financial team and things, and just like boring stuff you don't care about.
It
You're
was
like, I want to
so
see
weird.
trailers.
Don't watch
This is what I
those
wanna
then.
see.
I was talking about this with someone. E3's way better now than it was 10 years ago because now we have Facebook, which has those videos that say the 7 things you need to know about Microsoft's E3 conference.
You can get it
And you
all
get
in a
all the
6-second
stuff you want
Snapchat.
in a minute, and then you get to go and watch the trailers after that.
Yeah, that's all you want. You want
That's
the
what I did.
trailers, and you want the gameplay. And all the
Yeah.
rest of the talking, you just fast forward through that.
I will
So
say
the
Nintendo is
Sony
actually-
conference, the Sony conference was like solid, just trailer, gameplay, like barely any talking, a tiny little bit. And so I was like, that's the best one for me.
Yeah.
Everything else was like way too much talking.
All I,
don't
have
think
to
I saw
say is
anything.
new Zelda overhype. Like, no.
I know, right?
Yes.
No, I don't understand why they showed so much gameplay. I think they're like spoiling so much of it. I didn't
Well,
even want to watch all that stuff because I
No,
was
the cool-
worried that
The cool thing about it is that it's so open-ended. I mean, it feels like Skyrim with the Zelda theme to it, you know?
Yeah, it's like
And
Skyrim and
That's
Far
what
Cry
Lost
4
Love.
with Zelda.
Yeah. So to me, it's like there's so much that we don't know about that game yet. I don't think we've seen any of the Gerudo Valley or anything. I mean, did we see any temples even? I didn't look into.
Yeah,
it
they
much.
did
They did show one.
well,
but-
no, they did shrines, right? So
Okay,
maybe there's
yeah,
a
that's
difference
it.
between shrines and temples.
I tell you what, I
They
haven't
did
been
a couple.
interested in a Zelda game like this since. Oh well, there was mega hype for Twilight Princess, so that one
like
was
that one.
That was a big deal.
I liked
Yeah.
Skyward Sword a lot. I mean,
I didn't actually
I
play
really
that
thought
one.
that was
But I did play the Majora's Mask remake and the Ocarina of Time remake on
Yeah.
DS.
those are really well
great.
done. I think the only problem with Skyward Sword was because everyone else was doing HD graphics and they weren't yet. So Skyward Sword was done in like compared to everything else that was out there, it looked very low def.
Yeah.
I'm
They
kind of
should really go
surprised
back
that
and
they didn't.
revisit that.
They could have just done the entire Zelda announcement and said, guess what? Link can jump. Okay, on to the next one.
They did say that there's going to be
I
Link
know,
voiceovers, which is a huge step forward for that.
Yeah, that's weird
He's
too.
never done that before. They did say that?
They did say that. I've
Link
been
is
reading
going to
lots
talk?
of tweets about that.
No. I don't even know if I like that.
So, what are we talking about
I
in
don't know,
Hearthstone
that's
this week? We're
weird.
talking
Okay.
about a tempo mage.
right.
Hearthstone. Oh, wow. Okay, yeah, I guess. This isn't a Zelda podcast?
Well,
One
I
of
don't
these
know.
days
I think
for
that
April Fools, we're going to do a whole show on just Zelda, just for kicks and giggles.
Zelda's chosen.
I could do that. I could totally get on board with that. I'd be fine.
We'll
with that.
talk about timeline theories and everything.
Oh, man.
Ocarina
I've
of
got fuel
Time
for
is what
days.
got me into playing video games, period. It was like my gateway drug. Like
Wow.
fishing in Ocarina of Time for hours and hours and hours and hours was my gateway drug to video games.
Oh, rip. All right, so we're going to be talking about the new Old Gods Tempo Mage this week from Hotform and Amaz. We're also going to talk about a really neat Mana Crystals article that Andrew literally found like 5 minutes prior to the show. And it talks about pushing to legend.
Don't give out all our secrets.
And then we're going to talk about some really cool Hearthstone news from... What was it? Oh, yeah, we have some really cool thing that Eve found from a China arena experiment. So let's get into this, starting with our news. And we have new bumpers, folks.
Extra, extra, read all about it! Keep it quick, kid. I ain't got all day.
I love it. So good. All right.
Okay, so do you know which card that is?
Yeah, that is the...
Is that the Shady Dealer?
No, I think it's Booty Bay.
No.
No,
Wow.
that's actually not a card text. That is just a standard goblin from Warcraft, from what I understand. Because I know Gadget
Gazlo.
Zan...
Come on. It's Gazlo.
Oh, it's Gazlo.
Is it Gazlo?
One of my favorite cards.
The most played card. All right.
No,
so,
he said it one of his favorite
Wish you-
cards.
yeah.
Yeah. He was just fun to play with.
So, Andrew, did you play Tavern Brawl this week? Because that's our first bit of news.
I played one match, just like always.
Just like me.
I played Yasharaj Druid and killed everyone. And by everyone, I mean one.
The one person.
I killed one person. Yeah.
All right, so this is Heart of the Sunwell. It is a repeat brawl, but still pretty fresh because we have a lot of new 10-mana cards. So
We haven't done it with Whispers of the Old Gods, so
Yeah.
there was some feeling of newness to it.
Right.
Right. So what was your strategy, Andrew?
Just play all the big minions. I mean, it's like Ramp Druid except without all the stupid spells, and it's guaranteed 10 mana. So I mean, if you get Yasharaj in your opening mulligan, you've got two really big cards all of a sudden. So just a lot of taunts, Ancient of Wars, So Got the Slitherer, Sunwalkers, Master Jousters. I mean, just stuff that's going to be hard to get through and destroy.
So this one
That's
basically gives you 10 mana, and that's at turn 1, 10 mana, and then you get to play whatever you want. It's a whole new deck construction type idea, and it was fairly easy to kind of figure out because we've kind of done this before, but it was interesting. I mean, I got my pack. It was fun.
What was your strategy, Rob?
I played Druid because I needed a Druid quest, not for any other reason, and I just packed it full of minions and hard mulligan for Alex Drauza. And I won on turn 3 or turn 4. So basically, this is my fun game story as well. Turn 1, I had... Obviously, I don't have the coin, so I go first. Turn 1, Alex. And then they turn 1, Rag. Rag hits me for 8. Turn 2, I play Hogger, the real one. So I play Hogger and then smack him in the face for 8. So he's down from 15 turn 1 to 7 on turn 2 plus 1 armor. And then I'm down to like 22. And then I hit him again with mine. So he's down to 7, my hero power. Then he plays Dark Whispers to make his Rag 13-13 with taunt. And then the rag
Whoa.
hits my Alex, and I'm like, in any other situation that would be a good play, except for the fact that I've been holding on to recycle in my opening hand.
Oh my god.
So I play recycle and recycle his rag, and then I hit him for exact lethal with my hero power, Hogger, and his minion, Knoll. And that was a turn 3 victory. Punished.
Wow.
Congratulations.
It was really fun, and I will never do it again. Unless we hit this tavern brawl again, and then I'll try to get it.
Be like,
All
I'm
right.
gonna get out while I'm still happy, and this is still a positive experience.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. So that's Tavern Brawl, folks. Good luck doing it. Try to get yourself a lot of hard removal. Aside from maybe natural.
I haven't played it yet.
But yeah.
So I think I'm gonna try Warrior with Varian and see how well that does.
Oh
be
yeah,
fun.
that's good too. Yeah.
If
All
I
right,
can
so
mulligan him.
Eve, why don't you let us know what China is doing with their arena reward system in this experiment?
Well, I was a little confused about it because I thought, is this something that they're like experimenting with in another country, and that if it goes well, they'll bring it to us? But I guess China sort of has more control over it and what they do, so it actually doesn't have much to do with Blizzard and the people here. Like, it wasn't something they made up or they instigated. It was China that was like, we're gonna do this. And the way Mike Danae said was it like, that's interesting, you know, we'll keep an eye on it, we'll learn from it, but we don't have any plans to do it ourselves. So in China, they're doing things where you get rewards based on your arena wins. So if you go 12-0 10 times, you can get a prize, which I think
What's the
is
prize?
really good because I don't know. Just like keeping track of your wins over more than one arena game and giving people incentive to play and to play well like that. Like kind of a leaderboard almost, right?
Okay.
For arena, just sounds like something that arena players have been asking for a long time. So I think it's great that it's happening so that at least if they keep an eye on it and they see that people really like it, or if people over here hear about it and say, we want something like that too, and get really loud, then Blizzard always listens to their player base. So we have more of a
Huff has been
chance that they'll do something
dying
like
for
that.
leaderboards for so long.
She even took a break from arena for a while because she was like, okay, number one, standard made everything really interesting.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of sick of arena for a while because you haven't done anything to it in a long time and it's getting a little boring. I mean, she went back, but I was like, wow, if Papu's taking a break from arena and playing standard, then that's saying a lot.
Yeah.
That is.
So yeah,
Andrew, what do you think
hopefully
of this?
they will. They'll keep an eye on China and they'll see whether it works out and how the player base feels about it. And maybe we'll get some kind of tweak to arena ourselves.
I mean, the hard balance is that obviously if we could get all of the cards for free, we would want that, right? So Blizzard's not going to do that. But they're always trying to find what's the correct amount of giving you incentives to play, giving you free rewards, giving you rewards based off how well you do. I think that with the with ending each season with those chests, man, I remember life before that, and it sucked. So that was a game changer, and I see something like this as the equivalent for playing arena. It gives you an incentive for doing well. I agree that arena is really difficult right now. I have not done well since Old Gods came out. My latest run was 1-3, and I like to consider myself at least average, and that's way below. So
It's funny because I've had the opposite experience.
Have you really? Oh, wow.
Yeah, I mean, I used to be like a 3 or 4 win guy, and then I've been hitting like 5 to 7 anytime I jump in
that's
there.
impressive.
So maybe it's lucky, and maybe it's because I keep picking the same classes that I feel most comfortable on. So that could be it. But I'm not drafting like crazy decks. I'm actually like drafting a little bit earlier since I'm still like used to that old meta. So I try to still get that 1, 2, 3 explosive opening, even though you have the bigger minions. And then
You go for aggro decks every time?
yeah, I kind of do. And it actually ends up paying off because like I'm used to playing a lot of Zoo, and you like have to know when to flip the switch. And I kind of do it a little bit more aggressively than most players do in the first 5 wins. So
I think that's probably
I mean,
my problem because I trade a lot in Arena, and I don't know that point where you just kind of have to take a risk and go face.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to figure it out. But again, I haven't been playing a whole lot at all. So again, this is purely anecdotal. This isn't statistical evidence. But
Sure.
yeah,
We'll always like getting more rewards than less.
For sure.
So
for sure. So Andrew,
Yeah,
what's
I
going
mean, you
on?
have to pay to get in Arena, right? And you don't have to play in casual or to play on ladder or anything like that. You have to fork out gold.
Yeah.
So it's kind of hard to say, like, maybe you should make quests for Arena that give you rewards or something like that, because you have to actually pay to get into Arena.
Yeah, I feel like
So I don't really know what they could do to it.
Once they upped the Arena rewards for even like lower win rates, like, you know, the 3, the 2, and the 4 like wins in Arena, once they kind of upped those rewards, I feel like a lot more people are trying it out and seeing the value in it, and it's kind of like finally worth your gold to a lot of players that really just like, I don't want to have the stress of playing Arena, it takes too long, blah 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 blah.
Well, and the guaranteed Old Gods pack was really great because you're like, this makes it a bit more worth my while because I either spend 100 gold on a pack of cards on a pack of cards, or I go in Arena and kind of take the chance of getting better. And it's just a 50 extra gold rather than like you could get a TGT or a basic pack or something where you're like, oh, this is just crap. Now that you know you're actually getting an Old Gods pack, it makes it more incentive, I think.
yeah.
Yep. So we have the Old Gods promotion, speaking of, is actually closing July 5th. So that means everything to do with logging in and getting your 3 packs. It has everything to do with getting the win 2 or win 3, and then you get 5, and then I think it's
like
3
and then 7. Like the second
If you're
one
listening
is a
to
lot.
this podcast, I'm willing to bet money that you've already done it. So if you
But
haven't,
there are
do it
some
right now.
people-
Stop listening, and do it now. And then that's the end. That's all
Yes.
we need to say, right?
There are some people who have like spouses who play, or they have a second account,
Yeah,
like a
EU,
free-to-play
Asia.
account when they have one. Yeah, different
So
accounts,
go
and they
do it
haven't
right
done all the
now.
things. Yeah,
You're not allowed to listen until you finish your quests.
go do your
Go do
homework.
your- Yes, and then you can come back and listen.
I'm
Don't
surrounded by
worry,
parents.
you will still get Cthulhu. Cthulhu is not one of the things that they're taking away. It's just the free packs and the 2 quests that give you, what is it, 10 packs?
10 total,
It's
yeah.
like
13.
2 5-pack quests. Yeah, that's a lot of packs. If you haven't done it
Alright.
already.
We also have a UI
Keep moving.
tease video because of Hearthstone looking to hire a new UI designer. So it's called the Game Mode ID that they kind of teased at us. So what's going on with this? I'm going to pass this to Andrew. What's going on with this UI tease?
Actually, that's the wrong one to pass to me because this is the one piece of news I didn't look into.
Oh, okay. I'll cover
So
this.
Ben
one
Bro
then.
did like a Periscope thing.
Yeah,
Right.
he did like a Periscope on Facebook and then uploaded it to Twitter as well. And basically, it's Ixar and another guy. I'm sorry, I forgot his name off the top of my head. But basically, they showed what the other guy was making in their UI by giving each player game mode an ID. So if you're playing in Wild and in Ranked, they give you your rank and then either Vines or no Vines to show Standard or Wild. And then he also showed the new stuff that's outside of that for Arena. It's going to show you like a little golden wreath with how many wins you have, and then like 3 little boxes under that with how many losses that you might have.
It's pretty.
So that's really helpful for a lot of players playing in Arena. In mid-game, you're like, I don't remember where I'm at, or if you're tuning in on a stream, you would like to know. They also added another player icon for every Tavern Brawl. There will be a little like mug or stein that you can mouse over, and it will tell you the rules and what happens in that brawl at any given time that you want to mouse over it. So that's really nice.
I think there are some people, like the Angry Chicken included, who have been very vocal about their frustration about how limited details are about the Tavern Brawl. And people might get the wrong idea, and then they get into it and they go, oh, this is completely not what I thought this Tavern Brawl was going to be. And they want like way more detailed, in depth, exactly what the rules are and how it's going to play out. So I never cared about it because Tavern Brawl was just fun anyway. But
Yeah, exactly.
apparently it really bothers a lot of people. So there's going to be just a little tooltip you can mouse over, and it's going to go into more depth about exactly how that Tavern Brawl works.
Cool.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, it doesn't bug me at all. I kind of like the exploration of figuring out
but
what's
you
going
know what?
on.
I like the fact that they listen to people, right? There are some
Yeah.
people who were very vocally frustrated, especially the ones where you have to make your own deck. So from the picture and the couple of little words you get on the chalkboard, they had this idea of what the Tavern Brawl was going to be. They went and made a deck, and then they get in and they're like, oh, I completely had the wrong idea about how this game was going to work. And now I have to go out and I have to make a new deck. And so,
they have they also have 2 more icons for casual. I missed this. This is cool. So when you go into play casual, they'll put a little golden sun for standard casual, and then they'll have like a bronzy looking sun that is for wild. That's pretty cool.
Huh. And these are probably all still kind of in development too. They're probably not completely exactly what it's going to be like, but
yeah.
They'd
My
make an
biggest
official announcement
question
if there
with
were.
a lot of the UI guys is honestly like, why do we not still have a way in the UI to find and display both our rank and our opponent's rank after the initial loading screen on mobile? Like, that drives me insane. Like, I can't.
Yeah,
probably because they really need
would
to.
be nice.
It's so small, and everything that you want to touch and things like that. They like less is more for that kind of UI. I imagine they always want to.
You
keep
could
things
put a little
simple.
number.
But
You
could
could
just
put a
do the
little number
number,
next to the
yeah.
name, though. That's not. Yeah.
That just drives me
I'm
bananas.
with you, Rob. I'd like it.
And then the same thing
Yeah.
for arena, you know what I mean? Like, they wouldn't have to necessarily show me how many losses that I have, but they could at least show me how many wins that I have in that little corner if they're going to do this. So I'm hoping that, mobile and iPad users get a little bit of love here. That's just what I'm looking for. Or maybe not iPad, maybe just tablet in general. So
I am getting news fatigue. I don't know about you guys, but
yeah.
What is this old gods travel agency tease?
it's just something
It's
funny
some
that they did
total
to promote
goof
it.
thing that they did, and people are like
Okay.
freaking out over this. Basically, they have
Because
like
they're
this
trying
little-
to read too much into it.
Yeah, they're like, oh my gosh, Ice Crown Citadel confirmed as next adventure. I'm like, I don't understand that logic. Like, how?
This is not how
What?
Blizzard works.
No, I told you guys, pirates. That's confirmed.
Mm-mm.
So
I
pirates
agree.
out of the dark portal,
I'm totally
going
on
to the
board.
Veil of Eternal
Year
Blossoms.
of the Kraken. I'm telling
You
you.
made me a believer. You made me a believer, Andrew, and I'm totally on board with the Year of the Kraken.
It's happened.
This is just
Ready.
like fun stuff.
So basically, the short end of it is they're like, travel with the old gods as being your harbingers of travel or whatever. And they're like, join us as we go to the Ice Crown Citadel or the Dark Portal or the Veil of Eternal Blossoms, which, if you're a lore nerd like Eve and I, the Dark Portal is
Yes.
basically the place that you can go and see the original like world of the Burning Legion or Draenor before the Burning Legion wipes it out. And then they also have Ice Crown Citadel, which is where the Lich King is from. And Yogg Saron is controlling him through the Lich King. And then you had the Veil of Eternal Blossoms, which is the final resting place of Yasharaj's heart. So you have all of these little things.
And I'm just like, can we get some cool cards, please?
Yeah. So the one button authenticator, I have an authenticator because I used to have a World of Warcraft account, and it was always a big thing about people's accounts getting hacked and stolen and stuff. Is this a big thing for people who just play Hearthstone? Like, do people's Hearthstone accounts get stolen?
You kind of like miss it with mobile users. So like people like Andrew that primarily play on mobile or iPad or tablet or whatever don't really notice it, because the authenticator, if it's on your phone, it like basically routes to the app and fetches the data and then inputs it without you even opening it. So Hearthstone users kind of don't see it as much. and then if you log into BattleNet, that's when you do it. So for me, it was more or less like when I go to a LAN center and I'm not on my local, laptop or my computer itself, and I'm going hop on computers. I think that's when you want the authenticator. But it is kind of inconvenient to like mistyping like that last 2 digits of your authenticator, and you're like, crap, now I have to backspace and try it again.
Yeah, they used to give you a number, you would punch it in, and then that would authenticate your account. Now all you have to do is press OK. You authorize this, and you go, yeah. So that's cool.
Yep.
You don't have to punch in the numbers that they give you.
There's also 2 more things of news that I will just blast through so we can get through the discount deck of the week. But we have the Humble Bundle from E3. There's actually 2 really cool key things that you guys might like as Hearthstone users and or streamers. The first one is if you're an Android user, they're going to throw 500 Amazon coins at you if you get a certain level of donation. And then the other donation is, I believe it's like $4 or $5. You can get 3 months of XSplit premium software, which I actually took advantage of because I think it's about $25 per quarter or per month or something like that, $25. And it's like a better version of OBS, supposedly. I know a lot of like, I know that Garrett from Angry Chicken uses XSplit almost exclusively and loves it. And so I've been checking it out. I'd like to go get some more test runs with it. I just haven't had time. And then Vicious Syndicate. Go ahead.
You also get a month of Twitch Turbo, which if you watch Twitch at all, it's kind of nice to not have ads. So I switched on that too, and even just a month of no ads is pretty nice.
Yeah, I forgot about Twitch Turbo.
Those ads drive me crazy. They seem to pop up at like the worst possible time.
Yeah, the only catch-22 with that is you can't use PayPal. You have to like actually link it to a credit card. Whereas if you just
but you can immediately log in and say, don't renew my account, which is what I did.
Forget the information after you've done it. Yeah.
And then there is Vicious Syndicate Gaming has put out their 5th Data Reaper report, which is significant, not only because it's like a really helpful like statistical evidence of what people are seeing and playing against on ladder, but they started adding like 2 or 3 more features that they're doing, and they're all going to have a live Data Reaper that's going to be kind of like a live update of stats and stuff linked with Tracobot.
That's cool.
So I put a link in the show notes. Basically, they're saying that 2 decks are advised to go check out, and those 2 decks are a Dragon Tempo Warrior and a Dragon Zoo Warlock list, which is really cool. I built these like on the spot, and I want to go play them because they look really fun.
Dragon Zoo.
Yeah,
I like the fact that both of those decks had the word dragon in the title.
So Eve is going to be very happy that they're both dragon and budget outside of the dragons. So it'll be cool.
Check out Dragon Zoo.
All right, let's get into our new discount deck of the week here. I guess I don't have it on our show files, so I'll have to put that in post. I'll have to figure out what I did with that sound bumper. Sorry, guys. Maybe we'll just play this one.
I hope you like my invention.
Someone call for the doctor?
That's so good. I think that was the right one anyways.
That is the right one, yeah.
Okay. It just says main topic on the title, and I thought that was supposed to be discount deck. But that's okay.
Sorry.
All right, Andrew, what's the deck? Broseph.
So Tempo Mage's been around. I think we've even covered it on the show before, if I'm not mistaken. Is that correct?
Yeah.
It's been a while. Like 20
but,
episodes.
in wild.
Yeah, we haven't talked about it with in regards to Whispers, obviously. So, and there's a few things that have changed. There are several different lists going around, and you can find what works best for you and your budget. The big thing is that Arcane Blast is like that's the epic card that you really need. Yeah, because especially with the introduction of Cult Sorcerer, that's kind of the biggest change probably. You have to run 2 Cult Sorcerers, which is the 2 mana, 3/2 that gives you spell damage. It also buffs your Cthulhu for every spell you play, but you don't even need that. So
it's just a good idea to have this card in general without the Cthulhu effect.
Yeah, like we've said this before, a card is really good when you don't even run Cthulhu in your deck and you run it.
Yeah.
Yeah. In
No doubt.
a two mana 3/2 vanilla is fine. Spell damage is actually extremely valuable. I mean, you think Cobalt Geomancer is a 2/2 for 2 with spell damage, right?
Yeah.
And so this is just a step above that.
You can
And
trade up.
turns out spell damage is extremely valuable in Tempo Mage because of arcane missiles. And with Arcane Blast, you've got a 1 mana deal 4 damage, which can take care of a lot of stuff. With as much Hunter as there are on the ladder right now, you can take care of Misha with 1 mana. That feels good, man. You can take care of.
It's like a used car salesman for turn 3. For just 3 mana, you can get a 3/2 body and eliminate a 4 of that health creature. Join in today.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had to craft my 2 arcane blasts because I had no luck in getting them out of packs, and that it hurts. But if you are going to be playing Mage at all and you like the class, you're going to have to shell out the dust for it.
Yeah. The only other thing is Kabbalist Tome is really good. I love this card. I remember when Reynad first revealed it, and I was like, that's totally not cool. But, man, getting 3 mage spells that are random, like Cone of Cold, is actually really useful a lot of times. And I find that especially when I've got one spell damage creature, because this runs Azure Drakes and Cold Sorcerers, and I feel like there's one more that has...
The legendary?
Oh, yeah, some lists run Blood Mage Thalnos also. Like, a Cone of Cold is great. 4 mana to deal 2 damage to 3 enemies and freeze them. That's pretty good. Not to mention you got that Sorcerer's Apprentice on board, and it only costs 3 mana. I mean, I'm just saying.
Look, my only problem with Kabbal's Tome is that it's a major tempo loss.
It depends. It is kind of a win more card because, yeah, if you're behind, you don't want to spend 5 mana. So you're right about that. The big thing that I haven't said yet is that all these Tempo Mage lists now are running Yogg Saron, and every time you cast a spell, you're thinking about, like, you're depositing change in the savings bank. And then when Yogg comes out, you're putting it all on.
How full
You're
are you?
banking on Yogg.
And you don't know what's going to happen, but a lot of times Yogg either clenches the game for you or it turns it around completely. I was playing a game and I was way behind, and Yogg, like, they had I don't know, 6 or 7 minions on board. I play Yogg because I don't have any other play. He triggers a brawl and Yogg remains. So that's as good as it gets. And granted, sometimes you pyroblast your face, but you lost the game anyway, you know. So he's
Sometimes
a lot of
you get
fun.
Embrace the Shadow and Healing Touch on your opponent.
Yes. There's a lot of different ways that you can win. When you get Call of the Wild, that feels incredible.
Doom.
But
my feeling about Yogg Saron is that he works really well in a mage deck, not just because of all the spells, but because a lot of the times mages don't play as many minions. And a lot of Yogg's spells that he casts a lot of the time have to do with destroying minions or hurting minions and things of that nature. So if you're playing against somebody who has a minion heavy deck, most of the time it's going to work in your favor. And if you have a bunch of minions on the board, it's not going to be that great for you because he's got so many destroy and hurt and do damage to minion cards. But if you are a mage and you don't have a lot of minions, then most of the time it's going to work out well for you because whatever he casts that does anything to minions, it's not going to hurt anything that you've got. So it's probably going to target them.
You're also probably going to draw a few cards out of him too. That's the other really good thing. When you're, when you're down to top decking, you play Yogg, there's a good chance that you can get some tempo from that and have a few cards your next turn. So that's really good.
And there's this alternate win conditions too, right, Andrew? Like some lists will run something in addition to Yogg. So what are some other alternative win conditions besides him?
I mean, just getting value out of your Flame Waker. I mean, you end up wanting to Fireball Face quite a few times if you can. Water Elementals are extremely valuable against as much Warrior as on the ladder right now. Oh my gosh! If you can play, I mean, it feels bad when they execute it, but if you can get that Water Elemental to stick, you can cause some serious damage. So I found that a lot of times
undervalued card. I think a lot of the times people like to ignore it, and you're like, dude, you can't use your weapon ever now.
it's almost like a Harrison Jones where
Yeah.
it techs against those weapon classes. So hunters are all over the ladder too right now. So really good card for that. I would just say that you're trying to control the board. You're trying to kill them. That's every deck. I don't know why I'm saying that right now, but
Well, the thing is that I think it's a bad idea to think Yogg Saron is your win condition. Like, he's helpful in there if you're against control decks, but the rest of the deck is your win condition. It's tempo mage, right? You just want to have tempo. You want to stay ahead of the other person and kill them. Yeah. And then Yogg is like if I'm still screwed at this point, I'm going to throw him down and things are going to get crazy.
Or if you have 18 health and your opponent has 2, you can play Yogg, and there's a good chance that you might get a Frostbolt or something like that.
A lot of the times, the Forgotten Torches coming back as Roaring Torches is a really underrated value play. You know what I mean? Like 3 mana, 6 damage is pretty nuts.
Oh yeah, I do.
If you're still not sold on that card, the way that I learned from watching some streamers is that Forgotten Torch is more of a removal spell. So you want to remove something with that, 3 mana, deal 3 damage, and then you've got a 6 damage card in your deck for later, and it's a really good value at that point. So there's a lot of good stuff. We said it before with the Tempo Mage is that it's all about getting more value from your spells. Arcane Missiles, 1 mana for 3 damage. That's not bad. But when you've got 1 mana for 5 damage or 7 damage, if you've got a Flame Waker or 2 on board, or if you've got, Sorcerer's Apprentice on board and it's 0 mana for, 5-7 damage, that's crazy. And it really, I think we've said this before, but this deck, when it wins like insane. I've won on
victories,
Yeah, I've won on turn 6 with this, and that's crazy for a deck that's not strictly aggro, But there are other games where I know by turn 3 I don't have a snowball's chance in hell to win this,
Yeah.
So
true.
The nice thing is that you can kind of get through games quickly, and when you're not going to win outside of a crazy Yogg play, you can just shake the dust off your feet and keep moving,
Right.
But
that's just variance
and I
at
think
that
that's
point.
really I really think that's this deck's hardest sell, is that it's so inconsistent. There's some streamers who have taken it to Legend and stuff like that, but for me, I get so frustrated when I can't get win streaks off of this, and I feel like I'm maybe getting 51% or a little bit higher. So you can treat it with some level of
definitely track your games on this. I'd be curious to see how often you get those streaks. And I have heard that this deck is far better at the rank 6 to rank 1, where win rate is way more important than win streak. Whereas sometimes if you can get like 5 quick wins in a row, it's way more valuable to play something else, for example.
Sure. Yeah. The only other card I'll mention real fast is Faceless Summoner. I can't remember what we said during our review.
Oh my gosh, so much value.
A lot of value, but the thing to bear in mind is that it's 6 mana, 5/5, and summons a random 3-cost minion. 3-cost minions are inherently weird. So if you get a 3/4, vanilla off of it, if you get the Bloodsail Cultist, that's great. But you're more likely going to get something that's a little bit funky, like the Master of Ceremonies or Alarmobot, or actually, I haven't gotten Alarmobot. That'd be fun.
Alarmobot.
Then he pulls your Yogg and you cry.
Yeah. My favorite is getting a Wolf Rider off that, because you've got 3 damage immediately, and sometimes that's really good. But Faceless Summoner's a funky card. I don't know, it can be very high value, but a lot of times my opponent can take care of both of them by turn 7, and then I'm left with, okay, well, what's my next turn, and keep moving.
Channel your inner casino, Andrew.
I took it out of my deck. It's not in my my version because it was just too slow.
Gotcha.
I think we looked at it originally and thought this is the new piloted Shredder because it's guaranteed value and it's immediate value.
Right.
Yeah. The Death Rattle is more powerful.
Yeah, because it's 3-drop. That's just look through your collection at all your 3-drops, and you'll see a lot of weird ones. Yeah. So.
Well, I think we lost a lot of the good ones in Wild too. Like there were some really good 3-drops that went away.
Sure.
Yeah, I think like the highest value minion is like a Harvest Golem or a Argent Horse Rider, right? Those are like two of the cards you want to look for.
Those are pretty good.
And then any vanilla 3/4.
Yeah, the one that I have is running Acolyte of Pain for card draw and Water Elemental, Azure Drake. Doesn't have a whole lot of...
Does yours run Rag?
No.
Because I have seen some lists with like full casino where they run like Spell Slingers and Rag and...
well, that's Casino Mage, right? This is Tempo.
Yeah, it's like Casino Tempo. It's really nuts. Just for
Yeah,
the listeners that
actually
can't parse
went-
those two to get different together.
Yeah.
I finally made Blood Mage Thalnos because I haven't had him for a really long time. You guys basically convinced me of his value because for the longest time I was like, it's just not worth it. It's a 1/1.
Are you gonna start playing
spell
Rogue?
damage and card draw?
We didn't need to convince you of the value. It spoke for itself.
I didn't understand it. Looking at it, like I
Value
think
Mage.
a lot of novice players to Hearthstone, looking at it on the face of it does not look that impressive. It's not like Deathwing Dragonlord.
Sure.
You know?
Sure.
It's a 1/1. Yeah, it's got spell damage.
This
Yeah, it
card
gives you a
sucks,
card. It's just
Dust.
kind of like, it just doesn't look like it on the face of it as a really impressive card. You have to kind of know a bit about Hearthstone and about value to realize how good that card is. And I didn't. I
Sure.
honestly looked at it and was like, I can do without that. That's fine. Then you put it in a mage deck and you're like, okay, this card is awesome.
You know
It
what?
only costs
Thalnos
1
really
mana.
is like a really good card discussion for this episode, even though we've harped on it when we talked about Rogue before, just because like Thalnos is just definitely one of those cards where it's super underrated, but like I feel like since Old Gods in particular, Thalnos is seeing a crap ton of play. Like he's even getting seen in these really wonky decks that like Savitz is playing that I think we mentioned with Korra, where it's like Reno, Cthulhu, N'Zoth, Yogg Saron, Rogue, like that runs Thalnos. Any rogue you play plays Thalnos, including Death Rattle Rogue. Any like a lot of mages are even running him. There's like a Malygos Druid that's running it, Miracle Rogue, both Malygos and regular like Auctioneer Leroy version. Like Thalnos
Well, the
is
thing
just
you understand
amazing.
after a while when you play Hearthstone is number one, card draw is really good. It's just really important. That's why people still play that 2/1 with Death Rattle, give you a card.
Loot Hoarder.
You know, it doesn't look that great, but it gives you a card, and that's huge. And then with Rogue, the fact that it costs 1 mana and increases your spells by spell damage means you can use it to trigger... Why did my mind just go blank? What's it called? Combo?
Backstab. Combo.
Yeah,
Yeah,
to
combo,
trigger a
yep.
combo. So the fact that it's 1 mana, you can trigger combo with it. That's why it's so good in Rogue. And then in Mage, the reason it's so good is you can kind of hold on to it, and then if you need something to bump up your spells a little bit because whatever you've got, you know, your Frostbolt doesn't quite kill what you want to kill, and you can drop him down, and all of a sudden it does 4 damage instead of 3, and it can take out what you need to take out.
Yeah, it's
So
also helpful
that's
for
really
Rogue
huge.
when you want to run Shadow Strike on turn 5. You just play Thalnos Shadow Strike. You can kill something with 6 health. You can remove a 4/6 bear like Druid of the Claw. That's pretty bananas.
Yeah. So because
But,
it's so, you know, weak, you kind of want to save it to drop it when you need it. Like an important play, you don't just get it and put it down when you've got that amount of mana left over in your hand, you know?
Yeah.
If you need
Yeah.
card draw, you put it down. If you need the spell damage, you put it down. But it's only 1 mana, so most of the time you can fit it into whatever turn you need it. So that's amazing.
Yeah. Speaking of Shadow Strike, Andrew has a story for us.
Oh, do I have a story for you?
I'm so
Well,
curious.
I'm so hyped for this
So-
story. You have no idea. We've been waiting like 3 weeks for this.
I just left it in the show notes right after it happened, and all I put in there was Shadow Striking the Hog, a lesson in an arena about how the correct choice can change. So I put it in there to be intentionally funky, but also to remind me of
It can
what
be
happened.
completely
So-
vague.
Yes. So I was playing an arena, which, as we just talked about, I'm doing so well in. But I think I actually got 5 wins on a run with this time. And I was playing with Rogue, which is not one of my best classes, but you know, I know it's really strong in arena, so I wanted to give it a try. And I'm we're playing, and I can't remember exactly how the board was set up, but I was at a point where I felt like I needed to get board control more than anything. And he had played the Razorfen Hunter, the 2/3 that spawns a 1/1 hog. Yeah. And I was feeling like I needed to use my Shadow Strike on his hog. Like that was the best choice. And it's
Shadow Strike does what, 4 damage?
5 to undamage.
5.
And I like even now I'm thinking through, wait, did I not have a dagger ping or something like that? But somehow it played out that was the choice.
That was the decision.
And I went ahead with it, and the way the last turns of the game played out, I had 1 health left. If I had not Shadow Strike that hog, he would have won the game.
To save yourself that one bit of health, right?
But the very end, I had 1 health left and was able to win it because of that. So,
my goodness.
I wish I could tell you the exact situation, but I wanted to bring it up just because, like, obviously, it does not take very much knowledge in the game to know that Shadow Strike on a hog is like no value, right? Like that's almost burning value intentionally.
Yeah.
The hog is 1/1, people. Just in case you didn't realize, it's a 1/1. You did 5 damage to a 1/1.
It's a Stone Tusk boar without charge.
Don't report me to PETA or anything like that. I'm sure they'll be upset. But in that
unusual punishment.
In that instance, it was actually the correct choice, and it ended up winning me the game. I don't know how many games I've played where I think, this play might be undervalued, but if I'm at the very end of the game, it could save me that 1 point. And usually I forget about it and either win or lose, big time. But this one in specific, I got to the end of the game and I looked back on that and said, if I hadn't done that, I would have lost. But because I was willing to sacrifice some value in that moment, I was able to save my hide and actually make it through. So
I think I have a real problem with this because honestly, if I look at a spell that I have and it's like Fireball and it does 6 damage and I have to use it on like a 2/2 creature, I just can't do it and I don't do it. I like wait until I have a better spell in my hand to take out the 2/2 creature, and it could hit my face like 3 times. And really, at that point, you should have just taken it out with the Fireball.
It obviously never feels good, even like I was severely questioning. I don't know if this is right, but I was so low on health that I felt like I had to, and I guess what might have happened is that we were top decking at that point, and he didn't get any more minions. And I was just barely able to squeak it out, with an Eviscerate or something like that. So just don't always think that because it's a low value play, it's incorrect, because there are some times that it is correct, especially in Arena where, you're not guaranteed a lot of removal spells, and you can get to the point where if you just can burn your opponent down or burn their options down, they won't have anything to do. And if you've got 1 or 2 minions in your hand, you can regain control and tempo very fast and end up winning the game from there. So just a story,
which class you're playing against, like just leaving even 1 minion on the board can be really dangerous, because if they're a class that has a lot of buff cards, like Warlock with their Power Overwhelming, or Paladin with their Kings +4/+4, whatever, then even just leaving a piddly little minion on the board can be very dangerous for you. So yeah, I get what you're saying.
All right, so Andrew, why don't you continue the discussion towards this Mana Crystals article that you found on tips and tricks to a semi-comprehensive guide to getting Legend.
Well, I suggest it timidly because I still haven't hit Legend yet. So I feel like this would be coming better from a Legend player who said, oh yeah, this is totally right. But
no, I think it's more applicable to someone who hasn't reached Legend yet, right? Because you're looking for advice. You're looking for things that you haven't heard of before, things that not everyone has already said before.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying as a recommendation.
Right.
Like this coming from a Legend player would probably, because I don't know what I'm talking about, but as I continue to hopefully press towards that, I want, I feel like this guide did a really good job of bringing together things we've talked before on the show, a couple things that we haven't before, and it's very easy to read. It's a quick read. It's not just some, 20-page article or anything like that. You can probably read through it in 10, 15 minutes. It talks about different deck types. It talks about the mindset. It talks about strategies on different parts of the ladder. And it talks about really learning from your mistakes, which is really important. So there's some good stuff there. You guys should go check it out. It's, like I said, it's a quick read, but it's really good.
Yeah, I've been scanning it since, I guess, the beginning of the show. But basically, I think the one thing that's the biggest gem in here is this one paragraph. It says, ranking up with a mindset of improving yourself. The other important aspect of ranking up in Hearthstone is the ladder anxiety and the fear of losing ranks. It's extremely helpful if you can convince yourself that you are playing to improve your skill instead of gaining rank. This way, losses don't hit you as hard because you know that you are improving every game you play, as opposed to, and getting better. And the better you're getting, the easier it is for you to rank up. So yeah, that's definitely the mental switch that you have to make. And the mental switch isn't something that you just like flip on and off like a light switch. It is basically a mindset that you have to bring to the table every time you hit play. So it's really good. And he even included a couple links to an article about how much time it'll take for you to reach legend with a win rate. And then also it'll take... He's linked another article with the statement I just said about combating ladder anxiety. So you'll find a lot of other internal links to go check out stuff. He also got a pretty good updated guide on tech cards, which is pretty great. And I think he even said he included Kezan Mystic in here, so I'm guessing that card is
that's kind of funky.
good for your wild play if you want to hit legend and wild. So yeah,
if you want legend wild, which, by the way, I know you guys were mentioning that you haven't hit wild at all. I actually tried it at the beginning of this season just to see, like, I think we all assumed that wild was going to be like way easier and like all these overpowered decks and stuff. My experience was not that way at all. It's like really tough. It's maybe not as tough, but certainly it's marginal if, at best. And it just feels different overall. Yeah, piloted shredders are still there and mysterious challenger and all that. But like N'Zoth makes death rattle, sludge belchers and all that.
Oh
just
my gosh.
Nuts.
And what's that other one? Death Knight? No, what was it? The big taunt. Death Lord, yeah.
But those it is not like way easier to get legend on. I was thinking if it is way easier, then I want to do that and get it and just be done with this.
You can still get your legend card back that way. They did say that. So.
Yes, you can. You absolutely can. But
I know some of our listeners play Wild, and they've been kind of wondering if we're going to talk about it or get into it and what we feel about it. And I don't know. I kind of feel the same way. I was listening to one of the Blizzard devs talk about it. I can't remember which one was, who said that they kind of feel of Wild right now like Tavern Brawl. It's one of those things that you can go and do when the mood strikes you to kind of take a break from laddering. Like if you're feeling frustrated about how things are going in standard and, hitting your face against a wall, you can go try out Wild or go try out Tavern Brawl, these fun kind of side things. So they're not really worried about tons of people playing it and how balanced it is and different things like that. And that's kind of how I'm looking at Wild at the moment. I did briefly consider dusting all of my non-standard cards, but then I remembered you got adventures coming up and you're going to want to keep all your cards because who knows how hard that's going to be to beat the bosses. And then when we get Tavern Brawls, fun things. So I kept all my cards.
I've only dusted a few of my Goblins versus Gnomes and like cards that were golden and expensive. So like epic cards that I got from like reward chests at the end of the month that I just never would have used even in Wild, stuff like that. I just got rid of them because I wanted to get some more cool golden stuff to play around with. The 1% as it is. So
that's right.
All right.
I think that Wild is going to be really fun in a couple of years because when you'll be, you like look back and be like, oh, Shredder, I remember that. That's crazy. And stuff like that. So we can keep.
I think we're
moving,
too close to it right now, so it's not that crazy. But yeah, in a couple of years, I truly believe there's going to be some broken stuff going on in there.
Yep. So let's move on to our one email that we have that we saved for Andrew because they specifically asked for you.
Special delivery!
Okay, I just can't handle these bumpers today. I don't know. So it's from Rob Pratt. Says, for Andrew, why is Deathwing Dragonlord a good card, and why is N'Zoth in a Dragon Priest deck?
So this is I summarized it down to this, but it was actually like a longer email, and he was basically watching you on stream. And he saw like you playing a Dragon Priest, and he was like, why is Deathwing Dragonlord good, and why do you have a N'Zoth in your Dragon Priest deck? And like, so there was a bunch of other stuff along with this email.
Okay.
That makes a lot more sense, because my first question was, why are you asking me?
Yeah, he was watching you play on stream.
but that makes a whole lot more sense. So, well, honestly, man, first of all, Deathwing Dragonlord's insane. I'll explain it to you, but it's a great card. There are no other 10 mana 12/12s that have 0 downsides to them. The only downside I can think for Dragonlord is that there's a chance, well, no, even if you don't have any dragons in your deck, you played a 12/12 for 10, which there's nothing else I think that has that value. The only downsides are if you don't have any dragons in your hand that will trigger, and if the dragons in your hand have battle cries that you won't get. So like Azure Drake or Twilight Whelps, or Twilight Drakes, and Twilight Guardians. There's actually quite a few. So I guess those are the downsides.
Twilight
but
Guardians are still
even
okay,
with
though.
that, yeah, you get a 2/6 for free. You get a 2/1 for free. I mean, that's not great, but it's better than nothing. And the upside of if you get like Ysera for free on board, that's bananas. And
or
there's
Nefarian, or the other Dragon Lord, or Deathwing. I mean,
Nyxia,
yeah, there's a few others. So it's a really good card. N'Zoth is in Dragon Priest for Deathwing Dragonlord, because that's a death rattle. But I think more so because of the Shifting Shades, the 4 mana 4/3. That's a great card, and getting 2 of those for free is great. You throw in Sylvanas, which is the N'Zoth card. Chilmaw is fantastic. And also your Museum Curators will get you some other cards. So you could get, one other Chilmaw from that, play both that and the Chilmaw that's in your deck, and then get 2 more from N'Zoth. I mean, you don't need a lot of Resurrection to get value off of N'Zoth. Really, like, getting a Sylvanas is fine. If you get that, that's a really great N'Zoth play. But chances are you're going to have at least one Shifting Shade or something off a Museum Curator, even a Harvest Golem or something like that. So there's just a lot of upside to all of that stuff. To me, Deathwing Dragonlord doesn't get played a lot when I've played Dragon Priest or N'Zoth Priest.
Oh my gosh, I don't know why, but I get him like every time. Like, I can't even think of a Dragon Priest deck that I play that I haven't eventually pulled him and lasted long enough to put him out.
That's awesome. Well, I mean, if that's the case, that's even better, But even if you don't get him in the play, you've got so much other stuff that got you to the late game that you can get off of N'Zoth that it's totally worth it. So I hope that helps you as you're hopefully trying to learn to play it. A Priest is not in a great spot right now, so I don't know that we can highly recommend it for laddering and stuff, but I would say that this archetype is probably the best. I mean, Control Priest, if you can pilot it really well, is extremely strong, but that takes a high level of gameplay also.
It gives you more than one win condition. I mean, if you've got N'Zoth in there, by the time you get to turn 10, probably you've played both of your shades.
Also, important to note, if you're playing against a N'Zoth Paladin, N'Zoth Priest is favored in that matchup.
Is it really?
Is it really? Because I've never won that matchup, so I must just be bad.
No,
honestly, never.
You're favored in the matchup because the shades have a very high likelihood of pulling something like a Tyrion or another N'Zoth out of it. You can also, if you want to, like, play the cards, you can entomb N'Zoth or entomb their Sylvanas or entomb their high value stuff.
Okay, that makes sense.
So
that makes
you
more
basically
sense.
are way more apt to swing the game much more efficiently, depending on how
because
you
the one I
constructed
play
it.
only has 1 entomb. Maybe yours runs 2 entombs.
You
Well-
always save Entomb for Tyrion. Always, 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 always. And maybe play it on Sylvanas, but like that is it. You don't play it
Yeah.
on anything else.
The list that I was playing and seen was either 1 or 2 entombs, but it wasn't a dragon priest, N'Zoth priest. It was a strictly N'Zoth priest. So that's the other qualitative thing that you guys need to
I
factor
don't
in.
Yeah.
think you want to play Deathwing Dragonlord unless it's a Dragon N'Zoth deck.
Correct.
But
correct.
Chillmaw, you could play in just a strictly N'Zoth
N'Zoth
priest
anything.
deck because
Yeah.
getting that 6/6 with taunt is just really, really strong.
Yep.
If you're looking for the deck list, Kibler runs the Dragon N'Zoth priest.
Yeah, he's a good one to
Really
watch for those.
All right,
Yeah.
let's spend a little time thanking our patrons and iTunes reviews.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
All the thank yous. Okay, so we have
So
our patrons that I'll pass over to Eve to read off. Special thanks.
thank you. Jamie S.
It's not a
Yeah.
Kappa thank you, by the way, so don't take it that way.
Sorry. Jamie S. Kelvin, Croven B. Ricardo C. John H. Pratap N. Gabriel Z. Garrett S. and Jeffrey W. Thank you for supporting the show in a monetary fashion. It helps us do everything we do and do it even better.
You make the show better. Yay!
make us
for making
better.
the show better.
And
Yay!
we do have 0 iTunes reviews this week, so we would thank you if you gave them to us. But alas,
Sad face.
sad face. But it's okay. We can get more. There's always time for you guys to fill those out. And instead, we're going to give you a very special announcement. So a little while back, we were supposed to actually have made this announcement with Cora on the show, but I wanted to make the announcement with Andrew with us. So next week, guys, we're going to have Mr. Kenny Keganby Ziegler on the show. And that means nothing to you right now. But it will
Unless you're
because...
Super Nerd 2.0.
But basically...
Mad respect for you if you know what we're talking about.
Yeah, for real.
Keganby is a Hearthstone community team manager, and I went through the loopholes and talked through, well, not loopholes, I guess it was the proper channels is the phraseology that we'll use.
Channels, there you
Went
go.
to the right channels to get access to a Hearthstone developer,
Networking.
community manager, and he will be on the show, and we've drafted some really solid questions, and that next week episode that we're going to be recording is on the 24th. So that'll go live, and Kenny.
Hey,
or
I have an
Keganby-
idea.
Go ahead.
Why don't we ask our listeners to send us questions that they would like us to ask the community manager?
Sure. Yeah, we can try to get those on our list. I'm not 100% sure that Lindsay, their community manager, like gatekeeper that lets them say what they can say, will have access to those in time, but the sooner you send in those questions, the better chance they will have to get on the show. But
Yeah.
I will say that
Send 'em
we've
right away.
done our homework and send yours in too, and we'll see if we can maybe use your question and some of our questions to like combine them into something. So next week's episode will be a little bit unique that way, but also it will be unique in that the whole show will be dedicated to that Q&A as opposed to featuring a discount deck. I think if Keganby's willing, we maybe have him say a deck that he likes to play, and maybe we can talk through that and the end of the show if he can't last for the stay for the whole show and answer all the questions. So that will be the priority for next week. That being said, that's
Be
the show,
awesome.
folks.
I'm
That's the
so
show.
excited.
I'm
Get
really
to talk to a
excited.
Blizzard team member.
So this is a big
Ask him
step
all
for
the
us.
questions.
And they're
Yeah.
kind of doing this as a kind of a hype episode for our 50th show, which will kind of not happen on schedule because I'll be flying out to of Japan. So we're actually working out some more scheduling stuff for that. So we're trying to do our anniversary show early for you guys with a Blizzard dev.
It's our pretend 50th because we couldn't do the 50th when we wanted to. So just pretend it's our 50th.
We're still going to make it there. We're going to get there.
Yes, we will.
All right. So how are some other ways that folks can get involved in the show at home? Andrew?
You can do stuff.
All right. And that's the show.
Hey,
Bye now.
seriously, if you have not checked out Discord yet, do it, because it is the coolest, most up-to-date way to just chat with other fans of the show, other people who are probably like you. If you listen to this and enjoy hearing us banter about everything Hearthstone, then you can join the discussion by being in Discord. So go to valenschosen.com and click on the link in the show notes for Discord. It's super easy. You can even have it on your phone. I just love opening up the app on my phone and seeing what people are saying. I'll jump into discussions every now and then and stuff. So go check that out. And for everything else, you can
Go to our website.
look at the show notes on our website. Yeah.
Yeah, if you're looking at your friends list and it's looking a little slim and you're like, I wish I had more friends in Hearthstone to talk about this awesome
It's
game.
your own
Go
fault.
to Discord. Go to Discord. Make some friends. Add to your friends
Low-hanging
list.
fruit. Low-hanging.
Easy way.
And I just got a little link that you guys can use if you're on your phone like right now and you just want to do it listening to the show. Go over to discord.me/VelensChosen. Discord.me/VelensChosen. And yeah, I think that's how you find us on Discord. Andrew, what are some other venues that people can find other Hearthstone folks over on the Facebook realm?
It's called The Inn, and they're funny. So come hang out with us over there, look at funny memes, and I like to vent there every now and then. So it really is pretty cool, though.
awesome.
If you're on Facebook at all, it's fun to have those things like pop up on your feed, and you can find some unknown streamers there, which I always like doing that because usually those people are a lot more intentional about, telling you about how they're playing. So it's a really good community. Go check it out.
Also, before we move on to where you can find Eve and Andrew and I, the show is still running our Patreon. Like, we haven't really mentioned it too much, but we really appreciate folks on Patreon, not just because they're donating money to us, but because it's a really interesting way that we can kind of connect with you in a different way. It's kind of like these are the people that are a little bit more committed to participating with us as a show. So we're a lot more apt to reach out to you, and it's just easier for us to connect because we have that contact through Patreon, if that makes sense. Obviously, we have different levels of stuff with our email and different levels of the stuff with the people leaving us iTunes reviews, but all of those things help the show and are great. But the Patreon ones really help us feel a little bit more closer to that family atmosphere, I guess, for me especially. So,
I mean, we completely understand if you can't afford, if you listen to a whole bunch of podcasts and you can't afford to shell out money for everything you listen to. But if you can, if you can't, 5-star review. That is the way that you can help us out the most, because it increases our visibility on iTunes and all those other apps where you get your podcast from. So if you cannot give us help in the monetary way, 5-star review helps a lot. And, sending us your emails and things like that keeps us connected with you too, with our community, so we can hear what you want, what you like about the show, what you
It gets
would like
boring
to hear
when
about.
it's just the three of us.
I know. We want to hear from you.
We're boring people. You guys are the cool ones.
And
You
thanks
give us
to Watchmen.
inspiration. You give us things to talk about.
And you can do stuff like what Watchmen did, where he basically made all of our new bumpers that we just played today and our intro and outro music, because he's awesome. So go check out Watchmen HS
He's
on
the
Twitter.
man.
He's the man.
Watchmen, you the man.
Andrew, where can people find you on the interwebs?
I'm on Twitter at Andrew's Living, on YouTube, BinacaFreak, and add me on Battle.net, Andrew is Live, number 1973. I'll spectate your games and tell you what to do, except for I'll be on mobile, so I probably won't. But I'll spectate and get
That's why
free
you need to get a
pack for
Discord.
myself and then disappear.
So hard to
yeah.
chat and watch at the same time.
All right,
But feel
Eve, what
free to
about
add
you?
me.
I'm on Twitter at Finnovar, FHINNOVARR. And yeah, because of the fire, don't really have much else at the moment. Like, I have my phone, and that's it. So once I get everything else up and running, then there'll be other things that you can do.
Slowly but surely, right?
If you would like my BattleNet, send me a message, and I will give it to you if you're not an egg.
Yep. So then you can find me over at Instagram and Twitter at NotRob. You can find my Facebook online portfolio over there as well on Facebook at NotRobMedia. You can go check out my Hip Happening podcast over for Overwatch with Andres from Coin Concede Hearthstone podcast. Both of us are doing the omniclab.com. That's really, really fun. We just produced our 11th show there, and we had our first guest 2 weeks ago.
You guys are way more into Overwatch right now than Hearthstone. So
yeah, we're kind of
it's a great show.
We're kind of like full guns blazing right now for Overwatch because there's so much content, whereas Hearthstone is got a lot of cool stuff going on, like always. So I feel like Overwatch is just doing the same thing that Hearthstone is, and it's really hard to keep up with both. But we try to do the best we can with the time that we have allotted. So go check out that over at omniclab.com. We're also on every other way that you can go listen to the show or find it online. Just use that Omnic Lab and you'll find it. So I think that's it from all of us here in Exeter today. So we'll see you guys next week.
Have a good one. Why don't you?
Why don't you?
Bye.
I love this music. Here we go.
Are we going to trance our way into it?
Trance and prance.
How do you trance?
I don't even know what that means.
Oh, we forgot to mention sweet merch. Sweet merch!
I foresaw this. Did I miss it?
Guys, go buy merch. Go buy it. ValensChosen.com/shop.